They say anything can happen at Anfield on European nights, and unfortunately for Liverpool, that is true, as they have been sorely beaten 5-2 by Real Madrid. Join me as we go through some of the major talking points and try to figure out how on earth this has happened at Anfield during the Champions League. Please make sure that you like the video and subscribe, it really would mean a lot to me. But now let's talk about Liverpool losing at home to Real Madrid by 5-2. Liverpool have been embarrassed at home by Real Madrid in the Champions League. They lost the game by 5-2 in what is one of the most shocking defeats I think I've ever seen a Liverpool side have in the Champions League. We're going to have a look at it now, but if we have a look at the attacking momentum bar, Liverpool couldn't have had a better start. From the 14th minute onwards, however, after they got their 2 goals, it probably couldn't have been any more different. Vinicius Jr. scores Real Madrid's goal, and it really was downhill from there from that point. Every single attack that Real Madrid had, they looked extremely dangerous, and they, more often than not, scored a goal. It was baffling. They were cutting through Liverpool at will, and if you have a look at some of the players' performances, it just wasn't good enough. There was no intensity from Joe Gomez to try and close down any players. Virgil van Dijk didn't win a single ground duel. Andy Robertson was very hit or miss, wanting to bomb forwards, but then making a lot of defensive mistakes in regards to his positioning. Darwin Núñez ended up coming back to try and cover for him, which is why he's so back on the player positioning, which we're going to be having a look at in a second. That's very alarming, by the way. We need to be talking about that as well. Trent Alexander-Arnold was in no man's land a lot of the time. Mo Salah and Darwin Núñez were the only really 2 bright sparks. Obviously, they got the goals. Mo Salah got his assist. And Cody Gakpo tried to get things happening, drifting into this almost attacking midfield position to try and pick up the ball. And he did do that on occasion. And when he did that and managed to link up with Mo Salah, that's when Liverpool looked at their best, going forwards. But defensively, they are shambolic. And they are a shadow of their former selves. If we have a look at their positioning, because this is something that needs to be very, very much looked at, we can see that there is a line of 5... It's baffling. 6 players just stood next to each other. This is their average positions, and you can see there is no vertical stability to this side. None. They're going this way, and there is no vertical stability. Where are the fullbacks to try and help out Joe Gomez? Where are the fullbacks to try and help out Virgil van Dijk? There wasn't any, and this means that they were just left in no man's land. You had Mo Salah trying to make drifting runs, which is why he's so far forward. Cody Gakpo also tried to make those runs because Darwin Núñez was drifting back to try and help Andy Robertson when he needed to. And then you had the midfield 3, who generally, positional-wise, you'd say this was fine. However, when we look at it, Jordan Henderson doesn't have the energy to really move around midfield, as neither does Fabinho. So it was all left on Stefan Bajcetic to try and just make sure that he was able to dominate some kind of area. And I actually think he did a very good job. But this is not good enough. This is just horrendous. I understand the need to commit players forward to try and get back into a game. But at some point, especially when you go in at 2-2, you need to make yourselves difficult to beat. You're playing the champions of Europe. You need to make sure that they don't score again, and that's not what they did. It was just horrendous. And if I compare this to Real Madrid's side, you can see there is balance. This is the back 4, this is the midfield 3, and then you have the front 3. There is a balance. There is a vertical balance going through this side. There is a balance through the middle. There is a balance horizontally. However, contrast that with the Liverpool side, and it's just non-existent. There's no vertical play, there's no vertical pressure, the centre-backs are far too isolated, and then you have this midfield congestion of just nothingness. Honestly, it was just horrendous to watch. The second half in particular, I thought Stefan Bajcetic was by far Liverpool's best shining light, and you can see how he wanted to operate in this channel, but he was drifting in to compensate for the lack of body and the lack of pace and energy that Fabinho had. Jordan Henderson, on the other side, doesn't help out Fabinho either. He goes on a bit of a walkabout, and he goes into drifting into these attacking areas, and it just left them a little bit isolated and a little bit just manless. It was baffling. Trent Alexander-Arnold tries to go forward as well, and so does Andy Robertson, which leaves, as I said, Joe Gomez and Van Dijk exposed, and it just meant that the counter-attack was always on. I can't believe they didn't see it. It seemed so simple. Cody Gakpo tried to drift into midfield to try and link it with Mo Salah, and as I said, it's when they looked at their best. But it was just night and day between any other good Liverpool performance we've seen. On to Real Madrid, because they do need to have a mention. Vinicius Jr. and Karim Benzema were sensational, but for me it was a difference in midfield that really changed this game. And Camavinga, Valverde and Luka Modric were all sensational. Modric in particular, I thought, for his age, not even for his age, he's just a world-class player, and Liverpool have come up against a just gem of a footballer, winning 4 out of his 6 ground duels, winning 2 out of his 2 aerial duels, by the way. For his height, that is sensational. Valverde managed to do the running as he normally does for 2 men, and that just meant that they had so much body in the midfield, and it meant that when Liverpool tried to go forwards, everything was being just thwarted and broken down. There was a big wall in the second half between the Liverpool attack and the back four, and while they did manage to get down the channels on a couple of occasions, Rudiger and Militao, who ended up changing and adapting to the situation after those horrendous 14 minutes that they had playing in Anfield against Liverpool, they did a very good job of really adapting to that situation and changing their play. Overall, it was just a shocker of a game for Liverpool, but I just don't see how it changes. Again, XG is something that is very hit or miss. When you score 5 goals and you have a low XG to the opponent that scored 2, it does look a little bit strange. But if we actually have a look at the stats, it does seem like, if you weren't given the context of the game, you could say this game was actually pretty even. However, it couldn't have been further from the truth. There was one team in this game and one team alone, especially in the second half, and that was only Real Madrid, who ended up getting more tackles, more interceptions, more clearances, and they won more duels. They actually won more aerial duels as well. They dominated this match, and Liverpool really thoroughly got the beating that kind of performance deserved. They started off so well, but it dropped off after 14 minutes. Just 14 minutes. And to be honest with you, after that, they didn't have the stability, they didn't have the defensive nous, they didn't have the leaders on the pitch to make sure that they were difficult to beat after that tough period of conceding those 2 goals against Real Madrid. They only had one way of playing, and that was going forwards. Jurgen Klopp needs to be blamed, the leaders on the pitch who were absent need to be blamed, and to be honest with you, a big inquest needs to go on, because that was an embarrassing performance at home at Anfield, where everyone says, and we know, there is magic that possibly happens there. Well, it's magic that happened today, but it was for the wrong side in Liverpool's eyes. The game ended Liverpool 2, Real Madrid 5, and to be honest with you, it could have been more. An embarrassing performance, and they need to get better. How do they get better? I have absolutely no idea. Back to the drawing board, and Jurgen Klopp is going to need to find some answers, and some answers fast. Not good enough. That's it for today, guys. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave the video with a like and subscribe if you haven't, for more content like this coming very soon. Make sure you hit that notification bell as well. You don't want to miss what's coming up in the near future. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on Liverpool and how they recover, if they can at all, this deficit against Real Madrid. Is it possible? Can more European magic happen for Liverpool, or is this the end? Let me know your thoughts on how the game panned out and what you thought went wrong. I'd love to hear from you. But like I said, that's it from me for today. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.